Okay, everyone, we have a lot to go through. We have a lot more to go through than I thought. So, I confess that I jumped ahead. I have seen the ending of the game because I wanted to play the game through to the end and kind of get an idea about the timing. And I'm glad I did because there's still quite a lot ahead of us. This is basically the end of the game, but goodness me, does this game pack a lot of exposition into its ending. It really wants to wrap up all the plot threads and basically have you go over everything that happened in the game. And the game has multiple endings. The thing is also that there are a few different endings, and it's not even just like choose your ending. It's not like, some games have maybe like 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever endings that you can just kind of choose from. But this game has multiple different factors that will kind of be reviewed at the end of the game. So, yeah, we have a lot to go through still. I don't know that we'll do this in one video. I'm going to try to manage this as well as I can in one video. If it runs over long, then okay, then I'll make another video, but let's get to it. So, we saw last time that if we just step out into the middle of this room, we'll get caught. But if we take a look, so we're kind of in the shadows here. You can kind of see Nancy's sort of in the shadows there. I guess that's why her sprite is drawn that way. So, yeah, so there's obviously a lot of rocks on the floor, and I guess significant is that there's this big boulder here. It's that it's taller even than we are. It doesn't really look like it's taller than Nancy is, but
this is a pretty good place to conceal myself should Corvus happen to turn his head.
It doesn't look like it's taller than we are because we can put our head over it, so I think it's not quite taller than we are, but I guess our head is enough in the shadows that they won't see us if they look at us. But what can we do here? We need to somehow act here. We need to somehow sort of, affect a situation that gets us out of here alive. Can we kill Corvus? No. I'm assuming he's going to say the same for Nessa. And we probably can't just talk. Can I say talk to Corvus? Talking to Corvus right now is probably the least advisable action you can undertake.
The last thing I want you to do is to notice me.
Well, what about talking to Nessa? That might be. I think that's probably an equally inadvisable course of action. Oh, it would be awkward to interrupt Nessa and Evan's conversation.
Besides, I really don't want to be noticed.
Okay, so we're very worried about getting Corvus's attention, but as far as Nessa goes, that would be awkward. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna guess that, boy, this gemstone, did I look at this gemstone last time? I think I did. Yeah, it's acting like I didn't because I think I got on a different saved game. Yeah, I got on a different saved game. We did look at that last time, I think. Okay. Anyway, I think what we're supposed to do here is get a rock from the ground, because there are a bunch of rocks. So you pick up a plain rock from the floor. And I don't know that we need to look at the rock. It keeps saying well done. Like if you look at the rock, it says, this is just a relatively plain rock. There's nothing special about this rock. It's not particularly valuable as a sample, but every rock does tell a story. And there are tiny red crystals and even tinier colorless crystals incorporated into the plain rock.
Rocks like these are fairly common in this area. It's not exciting, but still instructive.
And the game keeps saying well done. That does factor into the end. That's basically like a progress indicator saying that you've discovered something that will figure significantly into the end of the game. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. So, can I throw the rock at Corvus, for example? You aren't confident enough in your throwing range and accuracy to attempt that. Okay. I'm going to assume that throwing it at Nessa is also not going to... Yeah, okay. Alright. So the game won't let us do that. So, I mean, I'm not going to feign ignorance. I know what we're supposed to do. So what you're supposed to do is throw the rock into the passage. You Throw the plain rock down the passage.
What was that? Someone coming from the middle passage?
I thought I heard something too. I'll take a look. Oh no.
Corvus, what have you done, you oaf?
Either Corvus is inaudible behind the pile of rubble, or unable to reply.
Eek! I didn't expect that to happen. I just wanted to create a distraction.
Your distraction worked a lot better than you planned, Nancy.
Corvus! Let's see if I can free Mr. Richards while Nessa's preoccupied. 2 against 1 sounds like better odds. Maybe we can turn the tables on her until Jack arrives with help. You'd better be digging as hard as I am, Corvus. You always mess things up.
Nessa continues to paw ineffectually through the rubble while chastising Corvus. Okay, so Corvus has obviously been taken out of commission. That was a pretty effective way of dealing with him. And Nessa is at least distracted. She can still be a problem if she notices us, but for now, Nessa is distracted. So, let's take a look at what we've got going down here. This is an open cavernous area, so... Oh, this is the, yeah, this is, Okay, there's a table, a fire, and a wheelbarrow. So let's take a look at the table. An old table set behind in the cavern. There's some crushed Jordan almond pieces on the tabletop. Jordan almond pieces on the tabletop. Okay, let's look at the fire. Well, the fire is a welcome source of light. It's flickering in the long shadows of the castle and an air of menace to the scene. Let's take the table. You really don't need to own this table. Take the fire. You lack the materials to make a torch, and simply carrying around a flaming log is out of the question. Why? Why not? Okay. And that wheelbarrow there. The wheelbarrow has a broken handle and is filled with huge, heavy rocks. The front brace still looks intact, but this wheelbarrow isn't going anywhere. Okay.
Is there any situation where an immobile wheelbarrow could be useful?
Oh, that might be a hint. And of course, there's the lantern on the ground there. You can see a lit lantern set down beside a large boulder.
Nessa and Corvus must have brought this lantern used it to light the fire. Now the lantern Jack lent me has burned out. This lantern is the only ticket out of here.
Okay. So, I guess what we could do is... let's see, can we talk to Evan? As much as you want to tell Mr. Richards that help is here, you can't risk calling attention to yourself right now. Okay, so can I free Evan? You frantically try to untie Mr. Richards' bounds, but you fail.
Nancy? What are you doing here? You just don't know when to quit, do you? When I get over there, you'll wish you'd never meddled.
So we can take 2 things here. We can try to take the lantern, or we can try to take the almonds. The better thing to do is to take the lantern, so I'll go ahead and take the almonds first to show you what happens, and then I'll restore and get the lantern afterwards. So let's grab those almonds. You take the crushed Jordan almonds from the tabletop and throw them over the edge into the darkness.
I won't let these endanger Mr. Richards' life. I've got you, dearie.
Nessa pulls a knife out of her skirt pocket. Nessa ties you up tightly with the length of rope and sits you down beside her brother. It would be beside her brother, not besides her brother, but okay.
You think you're clever, girl? You think you've saved my dear brother by throwing away the crushed Jordan almonds? You've just doomed the both of you to a slow, agonizing death. I don't need Evan's real signature to get Crimson Lodge and its lands. It was merely a formality. A certain nosy wannabe sleuth is now tied up in a forgotten, abandoned mine. So thank you, Nancy. You were a loose end that could have caused me no end of trouble. I can forge Evan's signature easily enough. Who will the courts believe? That should be whom will the courts believe? My word with an official-looking signed document? Or Nathan Cardinal's?
By the way, somebody did point out on the last video, where did they get this will? Because we took the will from Corvus's satchel in the last video. So Corvus must be a really fast writer if he suddenly wrote up another will in this time. Bit of a plot hole there, but okay.
I'm not about to wait around for any of your friends to show up.
Well done. I don't think this was well done. Nessa picks up the lantern and gives you and Evan one last look.
Goodbye. Enjoy slowly starving to death.
So, Nancy, know any good jokes?
Why didn't Nessa kill us with her knife?
I don't know. Why didn't Nessa kill us with her knife?
Mr. Richards, I'm being serious.
Oh, she doesn't have a stomach for physical violence. The sight of blood makes her faint. I think he thought that was the joke. He said, "Do you know any good jokes?" And I think he thought that was going to be her attempt at a joke. You didn't see her threatening me with a knife, did you?
I wish you'd told me that while she was tying me up.
Oh, right. Sorry. You tell Evan that help may arrive at any time, though you have your doubts. Could Jack find you in the darkness? He'd have to wait for someone to bring another lantern. Evan regales you with stories from Crimson back when he was a boy. You're happy for the distraction. His voice gets huskier as the hours pass. Eventually he resorts to quietly humming snatches of old folk tunes. You join in when you know the song. It's a nice way to pass the time.
Oh, did you hear that?
Not us.
Not us. We're in here. Help!
Nancy, is that you? Okay, I think we saw this last time. Yeah, this is basically what we saw last time. So, how is Evan standing up? What? How did he get out of his... Wait, what? I think that must have been a bug, because Evan was standing up when Ranger Murdoch got to him. Okay, you know, I'm going to skip this, and we can, because this is also not... Yeah, okay. Let's skip all this, because this is also not a good ending. This is basically showing what happens if you take the almonds. So I'm going to go back, and this time I'll take the lantern. This is what you should do. Like, getting the almonds gets you that ending. So basically, you and Evan survive, so it's better than what we had before. But it's better to get the lantern.
Nancy?
Yeah, we saw this.
Stop! Come any closer and I'll throw this lantern over the edge. You need the light just as much as we do. No one can leave this cavern without it. Jack will be along shortly. It's over, Nessa. You can try getting away, but my dear little brother certainly can't. Don't come any closer. Stay where you are.
Boy, Nancy sure got assertive.
You're trying to tell me what to do? How dare you? Why did you ever set foot in Crimson? Why? If it hadn't been for you...
Nessa is so overwrought she can barely speak. Nessa stamps her foot angrily.
You!
Oh boy, she's really furious now.
You're ruining everything! All of my planning, all that I've done, undone by you, you meddlesome slip of a girl. Nessa, be careful. Don't tell me what to do. How dare you?
Nessa pulls a knife out of her skirt pocket.
You'll never leave here alive. Watch out. I said don't tell me what to do. Oh no. Oh no.
The whole mine gives a great shudder and part of the floor gives way.
Nancy!
Nessa clings desperately to the edge of a new yawning chasm which has already swallowed her knife.
Ah! Nessa? You will never get ahead in the real world. You're too soft. Ah, Nessa?
I guess we're supposed to act here. Part of the caverns falling away in a gaping chasm that descends into deep darkness. Nessa is here. Talk to Nessa. She's not really in a talkative mood, I guess, but Nessa can't hear you above the sound of her own screeching.
Fool! What happens to nice girls, do you think? You're a doormat and wouldn't even bother wiping my shoes on you.
So, this is the final confrontation.
You and Evan both bumbling around spoiling carefully constructed plans.
You can try to save Nessa, or you can kill her.
I won't stop until Crimson is a hole in the ground and I'm as wealthy as a sultan.
You have the choice here. You can kill Nessa or save her. Now, you can't directly kill her. The game won't let you say kill Nessa. You wouldn't hurt a fly. Yeah. You cannot, like, even in this situation, Nancy won't directly, like, try to push her off the ledge or anything like that. But you can just say...
Yeah, made you think you've won? Dumb luck is all this.
You can just say leave.
Nancy!
Ah! And that was that. Yes, exactly. Well, I suppose that's that. And yes, Nessa is dead. So, again, you can't, like, directly kill her. Nancy won't try to, like, pick her fingers off that ledge that she was holding on to. Nancy's too nice for that. But you can just say leave, and Nessa will die, as she just did. And this does, of course, affect the ending of the game, because Nessa is dead. Mr. Richards stares for a little while at the edge of the chasm. He then turns his head towards you. His expression is unreadable. Help me out of these ropes, will you?
Yes, sir.
So, we have a moral decision here. You can go on and play the game like this. This does not in any way prevent you from finishing the game. I personally think that probably the better thing to do is to try to save Nessa. I mean, it's debatable. She was obviously... I mean, she's obviously the villain. She's obviously like the main villain of this game. But I think that we probably put ourselves in a morally questionable position if we let her die. Like, we don't even actively kill her. We just let her fall off. But that's obviously, it's like the trolley problem. It's like allowing a person to die is essentially the same as killing them. If you know they're going to die, then letting them die is not really it's not morally different from actively killing them. So, yeah, so we can untie Evan from his bounds. And then after that, then, now what?
I suppose we try to find our way out of here.
Sounds good to me. Lead the way.
Right. Wait, do you hear that?
Hear what?
We're in here, help.
Yeah, and then this happens again. So yeah, in any case, these guys are going to show up. So I'm going to go back again. I'm going to skip all this. And I'm going to go ahead and save Nessa. Probably the best thing to do in terms of, again, the game has a few different endings. It has a few different sort of threads that go in different directions. So you can certainly choose to let Nessa die, and it won't have a huge effect on other parts of the ending. But I will choose to save her. So yeah, we're here, and let's say save Nessa.
Oh, Nessa, do be quiet for once.
Nessa gasps for breath, recovering from her near-death experience.
You're stronger than you look. Thanks. I wonder if I could safely secure Nessa. I need to do something before I start standing up or else she might run off.
So yeah, we've got Nessa here, and we've got that wheelbarrow there. It's obviously pretty... I mean, if we looked at the wheelbarrow before, as we did, then it's obviously a pretty strong hit. We need to somehow tie Nessa to the wheelbarrow. So tie Nessa to wheelbarrow. Sorry, you can't do that. Attach Nessa to wheelbarrow. That doesn't seem to work. Yeah, I don't know exactly how you're supposed to figure this out. I guess it would be nice if the game gave you a little bit of guidance, because this is basically like a guess the verb or guess the command kind of situation. What you're supposed to do, if you look in your inventory, we still have that lock, and Nancy goes on about how the lock could bind just about anything. So what you're supposed to do is say attach Nessa to wheelbarrow with the lock. I'm going to say lock Nessa to wheelbarrow. Yeah, okay, that should work. You hook Nessa's belt loop with the open padlock and close the padlock firmly around the front brace of the wheelbarrow.
What do you think you're doing?
I mean, to be fair, if she really wanted to get out, she could just... Well, I guess the belt loops are part of her skirt. I mean, she could just take her skirt off. Like, seriously, in this situation, you could just undo your belt and take your skirt off. But I guess, first of all, she maybe wouldn't want to run around in her underwear, because she'd be... I'm assuming she's wearing underwear under her skirt, but still, she probably wouldn't want to do that. And obviously, with Nancy still being here, Nancy would probably try to stop her, so I guess it would be difficult to do. Nessa struggles to get up, but the wheelbarrow is too heavy and resists her attempts. Nessa screeches in frustration. I mean, technically, we attached it just to part of her clothing, so it would be easy enough for her to take her clothes off, but I guess she's not going to want to do that. Ah! Well, now that that's over with, come help me with these ropes, Nancy.
Right.
You managed to untie Mr. Richards now that you have all the time in the world. I wouldn't say we have all the time in the world, but at least we're not too pressed for time now, since Corvus is obviously not going to be a problem now, and Nessa appears to be tied or locked pretty well to that wheelbarrow. Thanks, Nancy. I guess we should try and find our way out of here, eh?
Yes, I think I know the way.
Hey, sis. Looks like you could use some cooling off. We'll come back for you. Maybe.
Sputter.
I know she didn't say sputter, she sputtered, but...
Wait, do you hear that?
Okay, so... We've seen most of this before. Ranger Murdoch. Nancy. Nathan's eyes widen slightly as he gazes. I guess there should be as his gaze settles on Nessa sulking by the wheelbarrow.
I padlocked Nessa to that wheelbarrow.
I suppose we should deal with that. Ranger Murdoch kneels down and cuffs Nessa's hands together. He then cuts Nessa's belt loop with a pocket knife. That looks more like Nessa put her own hands behind her back, but okay.
Oh, Corvus is trapped behind that rebel in the middle passageway. We should probably get him out.
Working together, you eventually clear the rebel and free Corvus. He's a bit worse for wear, but has only minor injuries. Ranger Murdoch cuffs Corvus just in case. Let's get out of here. Good idea. Ranger Murdoch leads the way out of the mine. You feel incredibly relieved to be out of the mine. It feels like a great weight has been lifted off your shoulders. I think we saw most of these messages before. The automobile is parked down the hill. Yeah, there were more Rangers raiding. How did everyone get here so quickly? Well, it wasn't... Yeah, okay. So I'm going to skip most of this because I think we saw all this before. Yeah, so I'm not going to reread all of this again. What's going to happen to Nessa?
You'll be hearing from my lawyer.
Not me, that's for certain.
Sputter.
Let's go. What, Corvus doesn't want to be her lawyer anymore? Why not? Okay. I think we saw this as well. I'm going to see if anything changes here now that Nessa and Corvus are with us, but I don't think that much changes in this scene. So yeah, there was this. All this we saw before. All this we saw before. This is Mrs. Nessa Crab. She kidnapped her own Oh, sorry. This is Mrs. Nessa Crab. She kidnapped her own brother. She could have done worse and gotten away with it too, except Miss Mabel here was able to detain her by padlocking her to a wheelbarrow. A rather resourceful and ingenious move, if I may say so.
Ah, thanks.
Ha! I'd go through it all again just to get to see the look on your face now.
Sputter.
And Mr. Corvus Shaw is her suspected accomplice. They have a lot to answer for. A busy night. Yes, indeed. Please dispatch some crime scene investigators to the lodge so we can build a strong case. Roger that. So, we've seen this, 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 we've seen that. Okay. So yeah, we saw all this. Okay, so we're back here. So I think we've seen everything that we can possibly see there now. Did I miss anything? Let me just make sure that I didn't miss anything there, but I don't think I did. Pretty sure that, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward scene. You have a few choices there. You can choose to let Nessa and Corvus escape. I mean, why would you? You can choose to let Nessa die, or you can choose to save Nessa as I did. I'm gonna stick with that. I mean, theoretically, I could show you all the different endings because the game, like, again, the game does go on different branching endings later, but let's go ahead and get this part done. So there are two little questionnaires here. Well, little. The first one's a little questionnaire. The second one is basically the last scene in the game. So let's go through these questions now. Did Margot have an accomplice in the ruby brooch theft? Answer is yes.
Yes, I suspect someone helped Margot hide the ruby brooch effectively.
Who was the accomplice for the ruby brooch theft? That was Jack. We know that Jack helped her with that.
I'm certain of that. Jack admitted to helping Margot hide the brooch. His fingerprint was on it clear as day. I found the brooch in Margot's walk-in closet pinned under a hat. After Nessa and Corvus had already thoroughly searched there, including the hats. Margot was already dead by then. Jack hid the brooch there after Nessa and Corvus were finished searching that room. He admitted as much to me when I confronted him about finding his fingerprint on the brooch. Now, about that curio cabinet.
Who stole the pair of antique silver steins? That was Margot. She confessed. So Margot confessed to stealing the brooch and the steins.
Margot's fingerprint was the only one I lifted from the smashed curio cabinet. Plus, she admitted to taking the antique silver wedding steins. That's all pretty clear cut. But she mentioned having help. Who helped with the steins?
Okay, here I have to admit this is something I missed, and I think this is going to come back to be a problem later. This is going to affect the ending, because I didn't find out who was the accomplice in the theft of the steins. I believe, let me just check my notes to make sure. Yeah, so the answer here is Nathan. That's the correct answer. But if we just say that to the game, I'm going to say that. Apparently, I found online, looked it up online. Apparently Nathan is the correct answer, but Nancy says, well, it's just a hunch.
That's just a hunch. I have no evidence of that.
So I'm guessing that we needed to find something to kind of back that up. Even if you give the right answer, apparently this is the right answer. Apparently that's not enough. You have to find evidence for that. So I missed something here. I missed evidence that Nathan helped Margot steal the steins. Oh well. Who was the imposter at Crimson Lodge? Well, we know by now that's Albert, also known as Karl Leffler. he was pretending to be a mineralogist. He was not.
Right. His geology and mineralogy books looked brand new because he'd never once consulted them. They were part of his disguise.
I mean, again, to be fair, he could have just bought new books. It's not like having brand new books is a sign of being an imposter. It's a bit of a stretch. It may circumstantially suggest that maybe he's an imposter, because why would he have just suddenly bought brand new books? But it certainly does not prove in any way that he's an imposter.
That explains why he was examining that glacial erratic. He had no idea that it wouldn't be a good indicator of the geology in the area.
Okay, that's a more strong indication. That's basically showing that he doesn't know his alleged field. That was a stronger hint, in my opinion.
The report Albert wrote for NASA demonstrated no knowledge of proper field report procedures, no appropriate use of mineralogical terminology. He was definitely not a mineralogical expert. I wonder if he was even Belgian.
Well, no, he was German. We know he was German. He was a German saboteur. This has already been established. Why is she wondering whether he is Belgian now? What was Kimmy's true goal? So, I'm not sure you're supposed to know that this is the answer you're supposed to give, but yeah, the answer is simply birding. Kimmy was innocent, so after everything that we've witnessed, it seems pretty clear that Kimmy kept out of this. She was just a keen bird watcher who probably had the worst vacation of her life. So she was, as far as we can tell, innocent in all of this. She had no involvement. She was like the one person who had no involvement in any of the drama here.
Everything and anything can look suspicious if you're looking for suspicious activity.
Okay, were Evan Richards and Nathan Cardinal friends or enemies? In the end, it turns out that they were friends. Remember I was saying I was a little bit suspicious of Evan because he seemed very gruff. He seemed like the villain character, but he turned out to be an okay guy. He's a man of his word, apparently. He certainly, he's not very friendly. I mean, he could work on his social skills, but I think the overall conclusion here is he's not a bad guy. He was not a villain. He was just, a character with some rough edges, but he appears to have been a man of his word. I think that he really intended to honor his promise to Nathan about turning this land over to the native, to the native people. So I think that Evan was actually honest about that, and yeah, they were friends and not enemies.
Their conversation in the conservatory indicates that they are similarly aligned when it comes to the fate of the large inlands. They also met up in the study after that first dinner. It was hard to tell if they were friendly then. But I did see them shake hands. They respect each other. Nathan was out late at night with Jack, and they were both helping Mr. Richards. I heard them talking about that. Judging from the conversation overheard in the carriage house, Nathan, Jack, and Mr. Richards were working together to deal with Albert. And Nathan helped me and Jack rescue Mr. Richards tonight. He's a true friend. Mr. Richards is lucky to have him.
Okay, what were Jack and Nathan trying to conceal? By now, we pretty much know the answer was diamonds. Why did they want to conceal the diamonds? That's kind of another story. Why it was a secret, I think we'll get into that later, but for now, it's pretty obvious. There are diamonds in Crimson. The ground appears to be full of them. They were, they lied and said they're garnets. They knew those weren't garnets, like white garnets. They knew those weren't garnets. They knew they were diamonds.
It is possible, after all, but so far that's only a hunch based on the samples I've gathered. I'll need to verify my hypothesis when I get back to the museum. I did see Nathan and Jack gathering something shiny from the riverbank.
Where did Jack conceal the suspected diamonds? So here's one. Hold on, let me check the answer. I think this is something else that I missed. The answer, according to the internet, is the smokehouse. And I guess we got some suggestion of that, but yeah, she says, I wish I'd found evidence that Jack had hidden diamonds in the smokehouse. So we missed something in the smokehouse. We missed evidence that he had hidden diamonds there. So that's the answer, but unfortunately we don't have any evidence. We're missing a little bit of... So yeah, all those well done things, whenever that little light bulb pops up in the lower right corner and says, well done, that's basically evidence that is now coming out. That's basically evidence points that you need now at the end of the game to prove all these things that we're going to claim. So we're going to claim a lot of things, and that's basically evidence that will be used to back up our claims. So, we missed that part. Were Margot and Jack having an affair? I don't really care. But, like, even if they were, so what? Who cares? Well, I guess Evan would care. I mean, okay, technically it's cheating. Yeah, I mean, if Evan and Margot were in a relationship, then yeah, actually that is technically cheating. So I guess it's immoral, but it's not illegal. I don't think they were. Jack says that they were only just friends. Can we believe him? I don't know. We don't have any evidence either way. But I'll say no. I think that's the right answer.
I'm quite sure Margot and Jack were just friends. He explained the meaning of the secretive boudoir meeting. He was helping her inject her medicine.
I mean, I believe that this probably was the case. I believe that he probably was helping her inject her medication. But that doesn't mean that they weren't having an affair. They could be doing this and having an affair as well. So it's not really evidence that they're not having an affair, but the game basically asserts that they were not having an affair, that they were just friends. So I'm gonna give Jack the benefit of the doubt and assume that he's being honest when he says that he was just friends with Margot.
Jack was a good friend to Margot and nothing more. He told me so and I believe him. What's more, the evidence I found backs him up. I found his fingerprints in Margot's medicine kit.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, sure, I have no doubt that he was doing this stuff with the medicine and the injections. That doesn't mean that they weren't having an affair. What item suggest Nissa came to the lodge intending to threaten or harm Evan? I believe that was the almonds. I actually don't know. Do people with peanut allergies also react that way with almonds? I thought it was just peanuts. I mean, there are many different types of nuts, and for some reason I didn't think that almonds have the same effect on people as peanuts, but maybe they do, or maybe it's a lesser effect. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, the almonds were basically... Yeah, Mr. Richards was allergic to almonds, and Nessa knew that. She brought them with her and filled that crystal cut bowl in the parlor.
Overt as you please. Nessa wasn't just being a rude guest. She was a bully.
She was a bully. I mean, she was a murderer. Or a planned murder. Actually, she didn't really kill anyone. Technically, she did kill Margot, but she hadn't planned to kill Margot yet. She was going to kill... Actually, we did see her kill Evan. In this storyline, she didn't kill Evan, but she would have killed Evan, if we had let her, so, okay.
But at least she didn't get away with it.
Alright, and with that, Nancy goes to sleep. So I missed a couple of things. I got most of the stuff, but I missed a couple of things, and there is, at the very end of the game, there is a rating. That's gonna negatively impact my rating here a little bit, but oh well, such is life. You wake up the next morning feeling refreshed and ravenous. As you make your way down the upstairs hallway, you begin to smell the inviting aromas of coffee and bacon. You enter the kitchen and find the other inhabitants gathered around the table digging into a hearty breakfast. You join in. Morning light is streaming through the small window, causing motes of dust to sparkle and dance in the light. Mr. Richards is slumped in front of his plate, eyes downcast.
Jack, you've already admitted to helping Margot hide Nessa's ruby brooch.
Sure did.
You'd said before that you and Margot planned to sell the brooch to help pay for the lodge's upkeep.
Yeah, she was trying to lay claim to the whole place, but she never lifted a finger to take care of it, nor sent a dime.
You also said because of the state of things, you didn't see the point of executing that plan. But I think you should. What do you think, Mr. Richards?
Sounds good to me. That would be a nice thing to do. That would be a nice thing for Nessa to indirectly do. She certainly wouldn't intentionally do anything good for anyone else. You hand the ruby brooch over to Jack. Thanks, Nancy. Ha, maybe I can get a new mop.
You mentioned that Nessa had it out for Margot, and this was Margot's way of getting back at her.
Yeah, but I figured it was because Nessa was afraid Mr. Richards would bequeath the lodge and lands to Margot instead. Oh, she sure was. Nessa was dead set on making Margot go away so the lodge and lands wouldn't end up with her. Which they never were, of course. I promised all that to Nathan and his family always and forever. Margot understood. I will admit to worrying about the fate of the lodge and lands from time to time. But once I learned how much Margot loved it here too, just as it is, I worried less. But when that fisherman found that diamond... Yeah, that was trouble. Nessa arrived and she recognized Margot's face from some old wanted posters. Yeah, Margot has a past. We heard a hint about that from Nessa before. There will be a bit more about that later. In her past life, Margot lived and worked up in Skagway during the Klondike Gold Rush. She was just a kid. She made some mistakes, trusted the wrong people, but she told me all that, so it didn't work when Nessa tried to blackmail her into leaving Crimson. Nessa found another way to get the better of her. Evan's face falls and he clams his mouth shut. Her secrets? You mean like in her boudoir on the first night you arrived?
Yes, I know we've already discussed that. You said the two of you were just friends, and I believe you.
Yeah, Jack helped Margot with her sour sand treatments.
You knew about that?
Sure did. Jack helped her with that every night. I couldn't, too squeamish. The injections were very painful for her. I couldn't stand to do them.
Well, that makes me feel better about that.
Margot knew Nessa and Corvus would rummage through her things. Her vanity has a lock, but she suspected that it wasn't secure. In fact, she suspected it had been tampered with already. I kept the brooch in my pocket for a bit, but when we were fixing to head to the Garnet Man, I didn't want to bring it with me. So I nipped upstairs to her giant closet and pinned it to the other side of one of her hats, up on one of those mannequin heads. I figured should Nessa and Corvus return to the lodge, the last place they'd look is somewhere they'd already searched.
Kimmy, I'm sorry that your burden trip was full of so much drama and tension, but I'm very glad I got to meet you. Thanks so much, Nancy. That's very kind of you. Yes, this was one of the strangest trips I've ever taken. So much unpleasantness and tragedy. But I don't regret coming here. Crimson is a beautiful place. Margot was very kind. Jack and Nathan really helped me feel at home here despite everything. And you, Mr. Richards.
Yeah?
I can see why you love Crimson so much. I love it too.
Aw, that's real nice. Thanks, Kimmy.
And Nancy, I'm very glad I got to meet you too. You're one of a kind, brave and clever. No matter what happens, I'm sure you'll make your dreams come true. Thank you, that means a lot to me. I'll try my best. Nathan, I have to know.
Yes?
I have to know. Are there diamonds here in Crimson?
Mr. Richards, Nathan, and Jack exchange meaningful looks.
As I told Jack, I made some discoveries that would strongly indicate the presence of diamonds in Crimson. Surely you all must know something. I think you and Jack were picking alluvial diamonds out of the riverbank when I saw the two of you earlier tonight.
Nancy, there are diamonds in Crimson. We have to check the riverbanks regularly for ones that come down the river. Over time, we've managed to extract most of the gems that are in the ground, but soil erosion also reveals them. Every so often, we gotta go looking for the more that have appeared. They're easiest to see by moonlight. Evan used to help us. In fact, he used to do it all by himself. Yeah, but it wore my back down, so it's now up to Jack and Nat. Fortunately for us, not many people were around. It was a difficult secret to keep even then. Yeah, until that fish swallowed that whopper of a diamond, and that lucky duck fisherman caught it. Nothing but trouble that was.
My goodness, I see.
Nancy, we know that your fieldwork is very important to you, and we certainly can't prevent you from divulging anything you may have discovered here. We can only ask you to think about what that news could mean for Crimson. We like it how it is now.
I do too.
Me too, and so did Margot.
What'll happen now?
That'll partially depend on you, Nancy. And indeed it will. You all piloted Nathan's automobile except for Miss Richards, as there isn't enough room in the four-seater. You sense he'd like some time alone anyway. He gives you and Kimmy a nod and then turns away. As the automobile trundles away from the lodge, you crane your neck and take one last look.
I'm really going to miss this place in spite of everything.
You turn and face forward. The rattling of the rough road makes it hard to think. The only coherent thought you manage to have is... what will you tell your boss? And what could that mean for your future? Well, we'll find out. Thank goodness the bridge has been repaired enough to allow trains to cross it again.
Repaired enough?
Heh, you are traveling light, Nancy. I wouldn't be too concerned.
Traveling light thanks to Albert.
Okay, Nancy, the train's going to leave soon. Be well.
Oh, but what about you, Kimmy? I have talked it over with Jack and Nathan. I think I'll stay on for a bit. It's been so tense here. I want to relax, enjoy the birds, and the fall migration is starting in a few weeks, and the leaves will be changing color. I've promised Jack that I'll keep with the lodge chores. I'll earn my keep. Oh, I'll help. I'll help with the lodge chores. I'll earn my keep. That's wonderful news. I wish I could stay longer too, but I've got to get back to my job in the city. Good luck, Nancy. I'm gonna miss you. I'll miss you too, Kimmy. Be well. I'll miss all of you. Thanks for letting me stay with you, and please thank Mr. Richards too.
We'll let him know. You're made of pretty tough stuff, Nancy. Jack's been telling me how brave you were down in the mine. We're grateful for all you've done here. Goodbye, Nancy. Yeah, bye, Nancy. Now go on, the train's not going to wait forever.
Right.
Toot toot. You stare out of the train window. It's a clear, cool morning. As crisp and refreshing as it is this far north, you brace yourself for the muggy summer heat down by Toronto. Your mind is buzzing with all that has transpired over the last few days. It feels like you're returning home from a long voyage. You can't help but wonder, did you miss anything? Did you leave any loose ends? Would you like to be privy to some helpful introspective thoughts? Yes or no? A note has been added to your notebook. Can I save the game here? Yes, I can. Introspective thoughts. I'll go ahead and save here because the game is basically over, but gosh, we still have a lot more to go through. I'll just tell you what's ahead. So this scene here, this train trip back, if we say yes, I mean, you can just say no and skip this if you want, but if you say yes, the game is basically going to tell you everything that you missed. The game will basically tell you, it'll give you hints about everything that you missed and how you could have gotten it. So I might go back and, play through the game again off camera and make a video showing what we missed and showing how it affects the ending. I might do that. But let's see how it goes. First, I need to actually show the ending. So this is not the end. This is not the end of the game. Once this train trip is over, then the real end of the game happens in Toronto when we meet up with the police, and there's an interrogation with the police, and that's basically that forms the final scene of the game. So I'll do that, and that'll be the proper end of the game, and then we'll see if maybe I make another video showing all the loose ends that I missed. But yeah, the final scenes in the game are pretty long, so they definitely warrant another video all on their own. So I will stop here, and yeah, also there'll be another video after this one showing the real end of the game. So thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you in the next video. Hopefully that will finally be the actual ending of the game, and then we can, pick up the loose pieces that I missed and kind of figure out, if it's worth making another video about whatever I might have not shown in the game. But anyway, one thing at a time. So yeah, I'll make one more video showing the end of the game, and then we'll take it from there. So I'll see you folks next time in the next video, which hopefully will really be the end of the game. And yeah, in the meantime, take care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.